Welcome back to Ghostcasters Podcast. I am C.G. Mosley, joined, as always, by my longtime friend and co-host, Adam Boyette. Adam, I ought to just record that and just hit the button every time we start, because I say the same damn thing every time.
Yeah.
But I don't know what else to say. It's kind of like, like when Walter Cronkite would sign off every night, he'd say the same thing.
Yeah.
I don't know. What we ought to do is let you be the first to speak every now and then. But you know what? That's what we're going to do next time. I'm saying it right now. Next episode, you're going to talk first, or we'll just sit here in silence.
I'll come up with something to say, because you always got to say, you got to have a catchy intro and a catchy outro. So I'll come up with something. So I'll be like,
okay,
hey, Ghostcaster fans, or something like that. I'll work on it between now and then.
So that's going to be a disaster. But okay, if that's what you want to do. We hadn't done a show in a few weeks. It's just been super busy. It's summer. It's actually like this every year. When we get to summertime, it just gets crazy. But I did think, because it is summertime and because it is the time of year when people are taking vacations and traveling all over the country, I mean, a very common place for people to, or I guess I would just call it a common vacation destination for families all over America, is Disney. And we've got two parks in this country, one on each side of the country. So depending on where you are, you're either going to go to Disneyland in California or Disney World in Florida. And I think all of us have been to Disney World at least once. I say all of us because my son Gavin is on the podcast tonight. We're going to kind of do a roundtable thing and just talk about all these haunted happenings at Disneyland and Disney World. What's your favorite ride at Disney, Adam?
My favorite ride at Disney World's Animal Kingdom is is Expedition Everest, I think it's called. It's the one that has the Yeti on it.
Yeah.
That's a roller coaster. It's my favorite one. I like it. I also like the Tower of Terror. Really, the reason I like the Tower of Terror, I like the ride. It's okay. But there's this picture. I've been to Disney World, I think, 2, maybe 3 times. I never went as a kid.
2, maybe 3. You can't remember if it's 2 or 3.
I can't remember. My wife has been several more times than I have been. But so I can't remember. But I know I've been twice. Maybe my kids have been 3 times. So maybe something I just can't really remember. But I want to say I've been at least twice, maybe 3 times. But anyway, there's a picture of me, my father-in-law, my children, my wife, and then my wife's sister, so my sister-in-law, and she was so scared to be on Tower of Terror. And there's this picture of her holding her dad's hand and holding somebody else's hand. I think it was my other sister-in-law, and like she's scurled down, and you see me like looking over and laughing at her the whole time in the picture. So that's one of my favorite pictures. Like when we got done, my father-in-law had to buy that picture just because Melissa was so scared. But it's just I enjoy going. I don't know if it's the happiest place on earth. I can tell from your experience when you went last year, because the first time you ever went was last summer. I know it was not the happiest place on earth for you.
Summer before last, but
2 summers ago.
But yeah, I mean, no, it was. I don't know what you're talking about. Why you're saying that? I had a good time. There's a lot of people.
You told me that you left at like midnight driving back because you were so ready to get back.
Well, I'd been there a week, man, a full week, and I was kind of over it. So we were supposed to stay an additional night, but we were like, screw it, it's midnight. I will drive the straight 9 hours back, and I did through the night, watched the sunrise, and got home and went to sleep. But that doesn't mean I didn't enjoy it. I did. It was hot as hell.
It always is.
But
no matter when you go, I mean, unless there's a storm or something like that, it's always 80 to 90 degrees there.
So as I said,
why you put it there? So
Gavin, my son, is also on the podcast tonight, just so we have a little extra. I don't know. I guess people probably get tired of hearing from me and you all the time, so I thought I'd spice it up a little bit and bring him in here. Gavin, what's your favorite ride at Disney?
Well, I've actually kind of got 2. My favorite one will always be the Haunted Mansion. Done that one a whole bunch, but there's another one that I do love every single time, and I've actually joked with some people that is far and away the best creation ever at Disney, and that's the People Mover.
The People Movers, one of your two favorites?
You ever just want to go sit down for 10, 15 minutes and not be, surrounded by thousands of people for a minute? People Mover's the way to go. So.
I get where he's coming from, but I want to tell you, when it came time to break time, where I needed a break, the what is it called? Carousel of Progress?
Yeah. Yes.
Oh my God. It was air conditioned. You can go, it was a stupid ass ride, but you could sit down in a comfortable chair and rest and just watch the show. Aside from that, I like the Haunted Mansion too, which I know kind of goes to the theme of this podcast. But
that's my son's favorite. My son, who is a couple of months younger than Gavin there, the Haunted Mansion is his favorite as well. He's watched both movies of it. I think the other movies come out, right? I know there was one with Eddie Murphy years ago. I think they just had another one come out a couple of years ago. But he's watched both movies of it. He's got the Hatbox Ghost and all that stuff. That's one of his favorites as well. And I enjoy it. But I am much more of a adventure ride person than I am I don't know what they call those rides, but I like those rides, but
like Jungle Cruise and stuff you know what I really liked over at the
Pirates of the Caribbean.
I like Pirates of the Caribbean. That's not what I was talking about. It's the one where you're in the river, like the rapids.
Oh, at Animal Kingdom?
Yeah, Animal Kingdom.
I think it's closed down now. Last time I went, you went after I did that. It was like Khalil Falls or something like that. I can't remember what it was. Last time I went, it was either under construction or closed down for renovations, whatever. So I've only ridden that one time, but it was fun.
That was super fun. I liked it. Just soaking wet, but it was fun.
Yeah, like the only thing is, like I remember, is that there's a part where it goes down and you fall into the water, and I'll have, the thing spins continuously, so you don't know where you're going to be at. And I happened to be with my back facing the fall, and it just fell right on top, like over my head, like a cartoon, and just like right down on me and stuff. And I was soaked. A lot of the people didn't get wet, but I got soaked on that thing.
I think the same thing happened to me, but. Anyway, so let's get into this. Obviously people don't really think about ghosts and bad things when they think about Disney, at least not ordinarily. But according to people that work at both parks, Disneyland and Disney World, they're apparently both pretty haunted, which I don't know. I was kind of surprised to hear that. I mean, you might think of, a haunted building here or there, but there's a lot of paranormal activity people claim goes on in these parks. So we'll talk about each one. We'll start with Disneyland. And so obviously I kind of want to start with Disneyland because none of us have been there and we don't really know anything about it. So some of these rides we're not familiar with, but we'll still go through it. So the first one is the monorail at Disneyland. So according to people that work there, again, that's where all this information comes from. Back in 1966, there was a 19-year-old named Thomas Cleveland who tried to sneak into Disneyland during what was called Grad Night. At that time, it was a special overnight event that they held every June for high school grads. He managed to climb over a fence and got onto the monorail track. A security guard spotted him and yelled for him to get down, warning him it was dangerous. Unfortunately, Thomas didn't listen, took off running to avoid getting caught, which sounds like a kid. That's when things really went wrong for him. He was hit by a monorail train and then dragged for about 30 to 40 feet before it finally came to a stop. Now, ever since then, some Disneyland cast members have shared eerie stories, and they say sometimes late at night, monorail drivers will see what looks like a young man running along the tracks near the back of the park, right in the area that Thomas died. But as quickly as he appears, he also vanishes and goes away. What do you think about that one, Adam? You think there's anything to that?
Probably. So for people that have been long-time listeners, if you're new listeners, we appreciate you tuning in to the podcast. But for long-time listeners, there's always a couple of things I look for. is there tragedy there? Well, of course, somebody getting run over, dragged, is a tragedy. So, especially a high school senior that is there on what should be a ceremony of celebration, but now it turns into this great tragedy. So you have that. You have the length of time ago. This happened in 1966. I was trying to do the math in my head. Is that 60 years now? 60.
I think it's 59 been more than that.
Years.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, that's plenty of time for it to happen. People, and that's just one incident, but so from that standpoint there, yeah. And I think the place Disneyland, Disney World, I think they have enough history there for anybody that would be considering it there for them to say, hey, these are something serious. These are potential things there, because now some people go to Disneyland, Disney World. I was looking at something the other day. This guy was making fun of what they call "quote unquote" Disney adults. Have you heard that term yet?
No,
I have.
Gavin has. What is it, Gavin?
It's the mainly it's just those people who take everything with Disney like entirely too far. Like they show up to those parks and buddy, they are more excited than the children.
Oh, so you're talking about Adam's wife, Jennifer.
yeah, she would be quote unquote Disney adult, but she's more about the stories and stuff like that. She likes Disney World, but she is not quite the huge fan of. She likes to go there and stuff like that, but she would not be that. Actually, my son Addison would probably be a more apt description of a Disney adult. Yeah, he loves it, man. They do all these things like they used to do it on the Travel Calendar, like Disney. It's not, I won't say Disney Exposed, but that's not what they called it. But it was something like that. But he'd watch, or Uncovered, or Discovered. I can't remember, but anyway, he'd watch all those. And like I said, like the Haunted Mansion. Like if you ask him a trivia question about the Haunted Mansion, he knows it. It's like one of his favorite things.
That's pretty cool. Well, so, we will get to the Haunted Mansion, but we do have a lot of stuff to cover, so let's keep moving here. Space Mountain. I hate Space Mountain at Disney World. I'm just going to tell you. I'm too tall for it. I really thought I was going to get decapitated.
Decapitated? Yeah.
I really did.
That's the rumor, so.
Yeah, well, at Disneyland, there are a couple of spooky stories tied to Space Mountain. One of the most talked about ghosts is known as Disco Debbie. Disco Debbie, Adam. You like the name?
Yeah, I was reading it.
It's apparently a glowing green spirit that guests and cast members say shows up inside the ride. The story goes that she was a cast member and she died from an aneurysm behind the building. And then there's Mr. One Way, not quite as catchy as Disco Debbie, but
I don't know. So One Way's pretty fun.
People describe Mr. One Way as a red-faced guy with reddish hair who hops into the seat next to single riders. By the time the ride is over, poof, he's gone. He's no longer there. Legend has it he died on the ride back in the 1970s, and some say he also shows up in the cast member locker rooms. So he's a creepy ginger ghost.
Yeah. A couple of things about Space Mountain. Disco Debbie. I guess if you were to see something glowing in there green, you would have to think it'd be something, because I can barely see anything.
Oh, you're right. You're right. You can't see a damn thing. I hate it. I can't stand it. And that's why I think I'm going to die. I mean, if something's coming from my head, I want to be able to dodge it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, well, let me say this, and I don't know how it is at Disneyland, but at Disney World, isn't there two separate lines, and like certain times they reverse them and you go backwards and stuff like that? So
I think you're right.
I don't know if it works the same way at Disneyland or whatever, but anyway, Mr. One Way, I wonder if it has something to do with the rides being reversed and things like that. But
well, he sounds like a creep. I mean, he shows up next to single riders, and then he also shows up in the cast member locker room.
But correct me if I'm wrong. It's only two people in the pod, right? But you're not side by side. You're either
you're in front.
Back, right?
Well, in Disney World, it's that way.
Yeah.
As
I
far
don't know
as
how it is at Disneyland. I would assume it's the same way. Most of those rides, like I think. Now I'm gonna say this, and a Disney person, a quote unquote Disney adult's going to get on to me. I think like Space Mountain is the same at every Disneyland, every Disney World, every
Disney
Disney
theme
park.
park.
Yeah, every Disney park. Because I know there's one in Paris. I know there's one in Tokyo. I think there's one somewhere like in Shanghai or Hong Kong or something like that. So I think they are the same basic ride everywhere. I think that one. What's the one they just rebranded at Disney World? The Splash Mountain.
Yeah,
It's now
it's now
Tiana's
Tiana's Adventure.
something to do with Tiana.
Yeah. So I think that one is the same. I don't know what they call it there. And then I think they got different names, but Big Thunder Railroad or Railway or what do they call it? I think it's the same at every one. So I think they're all the same one, just put it in multiple places. And I think there's a couple of rides like that. They just change a couple of little things or something, but for the most part, they're the same. So I would assume maybe the Mr. One Way has something to do with that name there. But, you know, the story I've always heard was that if you stand up or you push yourself up, there's a point you could be decapitated because if you look in there, it is like a metal frame ride. So.
Yeah, honestly, if I'm being honest, it sounds like one of those urban legends. It's probably not even true. There's probably like 6 feet of clearance above you, but
It's true.
But I'm not chancing it. What? Yeah.
Well, I will tell you this: you can go on YouTube and look at those rides with the lights on. It will not make you feel any better about all the bars and stuff.
So you're saying you believe you can get decapitated?
There are some spots I believe if you stood up a little bit, you.
Well, first of all, I don't know what kind of moron would stand up on that ride as fast as it's going. If you can stand up like that, you probably deserve to have your head taken off. But anyway, moving on. So there's another area called America Sings. And this building, apparently it's been several different things over the years. Originally, it was the Carousel of Progress that we were just talking about. And then it became America Sings in 1974. I don't believe we have anything called that at Disney World, do we?
The Carousel Progress is there.
Well, I know I mentioned that. That's where I went to cool off, but I don't know of an America Sings. I don't recall that.
I don't know that. You know, I know like for the Hall of Presidents, it's not at Disneyland, just at Disney World. True. So I'm assuming it's something along those lines.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking.
That's probably right. Well, just a couple of weeks after it opened, an 18-year-old ride operator named Deborah Stone tragically died after getting crushed between a moving wall and the stationary stage. Since then, cast members have reported hearing a mysterious voice saying, "Be careful." And that's not the only ghost there. So people also talk about the spirit of a teenage boy who died on the People Mover near the speed tunnel. I guess all this is right there next to America Sings. Yeah. He apparently tried to jump from one car to another, fell, and was dragged along the track. These kids jumping out on these damn train tracks.
Yeah. Well, kids, I mean, look, I want to say this. You know, me and you were talking about this on the phone the other day. Children are stupid.
They are. They're dumb as hell.
And they do lots of things.
Especially boys.
Yes, they do lots of stupid things there. And we were that age one time. We did stupid stuff. You know, CG would probably tell you this. I'm not going to go into the story, but he'll tell you the story one time where he had a spin out accident going down the road. He said, the only thing that kept me going down, we had a friend, which we've talked about several times on the show here. He said, Yoda kept me planted on the ground. So, but you know, young children do stupid stuff. I mean, people do stupid stuff, think they get away with it. The one thing I wanted to mention about Deborah there is that, you know, I wonder if she is saying be careful because of her own experience there, trying to keep people from ending up kind of like her.
I mean, I would think that's what she's doing. What else would she say be careful for? Yeah. It doesn't sound like it's like a really scary ride or anything. But, you know, I never would have thought that someone would get killed on the People Mover. But I guess it's possible anywhere there.
Probably more possible on that one than a lot of the other ones because you're able to get out and move around a little bit more in that one, you know. So,
That's true. It just goes so slow, though. I just
Yeah,
wouldn't.
but those carts and things are probably pretty heavy. So if you fall out and then you get run over, you're probably going to be dead from it. I mean, or sustain serious injury. Now, I don't know when y'all been. Have you ever been and seen like people had to be taken out of the park on ambulances and stuff? They got a whole process for it. Like,
No, we were going to get into that later, though, about how nobody dies at Disney. Let's get it. We'll talk about that at the end.
Okay.
Moving on, the Matterhorn. So back in 1984, there was a woman named Dolly Young who died on the Matterhorn. She was riding on the Tomorrowland track and got up during the ride, supposedly to help a kid in the seat in front of her. Tragically, she hit her head on a low bridge and was thrown onto the track. Damn, here we go again, where she was hit by another car. Now people say Dolly still haunts the ride. People that have worked there, or this particular person that's given their account of it, said that they worked there for years and never saw her, but definitely could feel some sort of presence, especially during the nightly track walks. The feeling of being watched always kind of hit the hardest in the big cavern and at the spot people now call Dolly's Dip. And weirdly, the lights near that area always seem to burn out, no matter how often that they are changed. So poor Dolly Young, another casualty on the track, which in another instance where something was low and a head struck.
Yeah.
At least she wasn't decapitated, thank God.
Yeah. Yeah, and like I said, the Matterhorn, that's one of the ones I've only seen on TV. That's one of the ones I think is specific to Disneyland. I think it was one of Walt Disney. I think it may have been the first ride they had open there or something like that. I can't remember. It bears some significance like that to Disneyland. And, I just know it's one of those things there that is a big thing, and it is some type of adventure ride or something like that. It's just a little different. But, the other one that you've got listed there is a Small World.
Right.
I'm going to read that there because I've ridden the one there at Disney World several times.
Right.
And I love it, but a lot of people do
really
not
like it.
I love it, man.
Oh my God,
I don't know
Adam,
what
I
it
hate
is.
that damn ride.
Do you not? So do you? And so the reason I want to bring this up, do you remember back in school, like one of the big fads that we had when we were in high school or middle school?
A big fad that we had in.
Yeah.
All right. All right. Hang on. Let's go through these. We had slap bracelets.
Okay.
We had those shirts that temperature would change the color
what
of the
are they
shirts.
Called? Yeah, heat wave shirts or whatever they were called.
Do you remember those?
I do remember them. I can't remember what they were.
Girls had those crazy charm bracelets.
Yeah.
Do you want me to keep going?
No. I just do you remember the Mickey watches?
Oh yeah. Well, I mean that wasn't just kids. Adults, I think, had them too.
Yeah. What song did they play?
It's a Small World.
Yeah, so I mean, I just remember that because, as I said earlier, I didn't go to Disney World as a child, so it's a Small World. That makes me think of the Mickey watch because I did have a Mickey watch. I don't know if you did or not, but
no, I think one of my parents had one, but I did not. I had a cool ass Smurf watch.
Yeah. Okay. And speaking of the Smurfs, they're coming out with a movie as well. But anyway, but I just, it's a Small World. Always makes me think about Mickey Watch. I don't know where it is now. I hadn't seen it in years, but it was just a big fad. It was a Disney watch and it had a leather bracelet on it. And it was just a big fad, and it played It's a Small World when it would chime and it would alarm. But some cast members said they loved this ride so much that they may have stuck around even after their death. Rumors say that lights flicker and the dolls keep singing, even dancing after the power's been turned off.
Now that's freaky. If that's really going on, that's some demonic shit.
Yeah, so it's strange, and like I said, I love seeing those things move. And
would you like seeing a move if the power was off?
So that's what I was going to say. I didn't think they were powered by electricity. I thought they were all pneumatic. That's what made them go up and down. Now, the air pumps are powered by electricity. I get that. But I thought they were all like pneumatically powered.
Well, there's still, you got to have electricity. Even if it's what you say, you still got to have electricity to power it.
Yeah, but anyway, so yeah, but
you're probably right. It probably is like air or something, but with that much water around it.
Yeah. But anyway, so I was thinking about that. So I don't know how they all work and stuff, but I know there's electricity involved. But yes, I would be scared if I went there. And it would scare me tremendously if I was on the ride and the power went off and all of a sudden things kept going or whatever. So this isn't some of those churns and things like that.
I think part of my issue with it is it's so damn long, and that song after a while gets old, man. I don't know why you. Hey, to each their own. If you love it, you love it.
I love the ride. I always want to go on. Every time we go to Disney World, my family, my wife's family, when times I've gone with them, they refuse to go to the Hall of Presidents. And I'm like, we've got to go to the Hall of Presidents.
Why?
And because I wanted to go. I've never been.
I'm saying, why do they refuse to go to it?
They say that's nothing. They don't care about history. They want to go and look at the presidents. They want to go. They want to go do other stuff.
I thought it was kind of cool.
Okay, now look. I begged them to go, and last time we did, we got to go. And you know what happened when we went in there? You know I've got a problem.
What, it broke down or something?
No, it didn't break down. What did I do?
Pass gas?
No, I didn't pass gas. I passed out.
What?
I fell asleep during the middle of it.
Oh, my God. Well, then you probably never heard the end of that.
Yeah, well, yeah. So I woke up by the end of the thing. By the time, because this was after Trump had been president.
By the time I've seen Trump. Trump was on it when I went.
Was Biden on there?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't think Biden was president yet last time I went because it was right after Addison's graduation is the last time I went. But anyway, so that's just one of those things. I wanted to go, but I think I fell asleep from somewhere about Abraham Lincoln to about Woodrow Wilson. So anyway.
Wow.
But anyway, on Small World, going back to this Small World, I worked on this one for 6 years, this person's saying. It's the first ride I ever learned. I walked around behind the sets and through hidden doors during breaks. Some of the areas were a little spooky in the dark, but nothing too scary. Still knowing these stories definitely added to the vibe. So lots of people get those Small World, those stories there to go around and tell.
Right.
Now, the next one we're going to go to is a Haunted Mansion. This ride has more ghost stories than any other, which you would expect, right? So the first one dates back to when the ride was still being built. A sound guy was working the seance room. He heard music coming from inside the wall. No talking, no commercials, just music. It went on for days. He finally gave up and just put a speaker over the spot to drown it out. According to a former Disney employee, people used to say the spell book in the seance circle was real, that Madame Leota was actually reading from it. Every morning, cast members would find the book in a different spot, even though no one had touched it. Now, do you think that is...
I think that's bullshit.
Yeah.
That's some BS. Now, it would be cool if that was true. That would be really cool.
Yeah,
I could see it being true, but I could see it being like somebody coming by going, I'm going to move this book when nobody's looking.
No, I'm not even talking about that. I mean, just do you think it's an actual seance book that she's reading?
No, absolutely not. I think it's just a thing there. But I think, I think somebody's...
Wouldn't that be crazy if it was like a real book and Madame Leota every time was literally summoning a demon in the middle of the ride?
You say stuff about this, and I'm going to make people are going to say, Adam, you're the dumbest person on the face of the earth. And you say it quite regularly, so it won't be anything new for you. But I just got through watching Andor. I don't know if you watched the new season of Andor.
I haven't. I want to, so don't spoil it for me.
Okay, I'm not going to spoil it for you. But every time I think about Star Wars, what was the opening crawl line from Star Wars, from the original New Hope?
The opening crawl line. I don't remember what all that shit said. A long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. Is that what you mean?
About. That's absolutely. So I always think maybe the Earth, maybe that's true. Maybe some hidden story there, and the Star Wars is based on a true story, and this happened a long time ago, and everything like that.
That shit is not real. George Lucas, he thought all that up.
I understand, but I always think about stuff like that. Like maybe this is based on some hidden history that only George Lucas knows about. Maybe he's got some type of insight to the beginning of the galaxy. But anyway,
you're right. There's a lot of people out there saying Adam's a dumbass right now.
But so to that point, maybe Disney does have a seance book. So that's why I was saying that. But no, I don't believe it's a seance book or anything like that. So, but anyway, so the Haunted Mansion, there's a really heartbreaking story there. A woman once tried to spread her young son's ashes inside the ride because it was his dream to be one of the Haunted Mansion ghosts. She was told no, but rumor is she snuck back and did it anyway. Not long after, people began hearing a small boy near the exit crying. Maybe he changed his mind about being a ghost. The next story there is going to be the last story at Disney World's The Pirates of the Caribbean.
Hang on, I'm not done on the Haunted Mansion.
Oh,
There's
I'm
a
sorry.
picture. Did you see the picture?
I do.
Okay, let's talk about this picture a little bit.
Okay.
Somebody swears that they took the picture of this kid on this ride and there was no kid up there. Now, the original picture, full disclosure, the original picture was a lot more blurry than this, but someone enhanced it to the point where you can clearly see that looks like the head of a child.
Yeah.
Don't you think?
Yeah, it looks like the head of a child. I mean, when you zoom into it, you can clearly see like ears, like his sideburns, eyes, nose, mouth. I mean, it looks like he's looking back at you. Now, I will say this. If you zoom back out of it, look at the picture just generally, it kind of looks like a sperm just floating in the air.
That's where the hell? What goes on in your damn head?
I mean, it kind of looks like a big.
It doesn't look that way at all to me, but I mean, clearly this is on the Haunted Mansion ride. You can see the chandeliers there. It's the big, the chair thing that you ride around in.
Yeah.
And it looks like this kid is leaning over, looking out from, peering from behind that chair.
Yeah.
I mean, what do you think? You think this is?
They got there and there was no kid in it.
Yeah. Do you think there's anything to this, or do you think this is some crap?
I don't know. This is kind of stuff that if I would have saw this, I'd been like, oh, it's just some kid looking outside. How many times did you ride Haunted Mansion?
At least twice.
Okay, so I've ridden it like 4 or 5 times. Like I said, it's my son's favorite. So I've ridden it several times. I've looked out over the edge. I've never taken my cell phone out and put the light on because they discourage that and everything like that. And we'll get kicked off the ride. But like I've looked around over the edge and stuff, and if somebody was taking a picture of me, like they would have seen me. So if I would have saw somebody hanging out the side of one ride, and for people that I'm assuming the one at Disneyland is the one at Disney World, like they spin around as they go around. So when you get to the end, it kind of spins to the side so you can get out and walk so the things keep moving. So what I would assume is that person got out and looked and like, damn, there's no kid there. So that would have definitely freaked me out if I would have saw that and then not seen a kid there. But, who knows? It could just be a play on lights. It could be lots of different things, but I don't know.
What do you
What's
think?
Your thoughts on it?
Well, I was going to ask Gavin. What do you think, Gavin? Is that real or is that some crap, or what do you think?
I definitely think it could be authentic. Like you said, it may just. I really don't know what to think of it. It could just be like a very unfortunate. You guys talked about before. Dust particles and whatnot. It could just be a very unfortunately timed one coming through, but that does 100% look.
That's a dust particle. That thing really looks a lot like a child's head.
I mean it looks like a creepy little demon child just looking around the corner.
Well, maybe Leota, she did summon a demon.
Looks like Damien from what was those movies called?
The Omen.
The Omen. There you go.
All right. Well, look, I know you're about to get into it, but I'm the pirate buff here, so I want to talk about Pirates of the Caribbean. So there is a story about a boy ghost who sometimes shows up on the video monitors in the control tower. He's usually seen on the security cameras looking happy and having a good time, but here's the weird part. When the boat pulls back into the station, it's always empty. There is no kid on the boat. And also some folks say that Walt Disney's ghost, along with a couple other spirits, sometimes hang out in the Disney gallery that is above the Pirates ride. What do you think about the kid riding? I mean, maybe it's the same kid riding at the Haunted Mansion. Maybe he just goes over there and takes a ride at Pirates of the Caribbean too. Which, you know what? If you were a ghost and you have not moved on for whatever reason, wouldn't that be a cool ass place to hang out at
Disney World? Yeah, Disneyland, yeah.
Just hang out at Disney when the park closes. You can go see all the stuff you wanted to see. Play around with all the rides you want to. I mean, that would be fun to me. But anyway, that kind of ties up Disneyland. So according to this, there's a lot of haunted stuff going on at Disneyland. I guess I should also point out this. If you notice, Adam, I don't know if you saw the video that's attached to this. at the bottom of this document, but apparently there is a lot of security footage of a ghost kind of walking around Disneyland. You can't really tell it from that image that I screenshotted there, but if you watch the actual video, it does look like some kind of apparition just walking all through the park. And nobody really can explain it. It was after hours, after the place had closed.
Well, it goes back to, and I know you want to talk about it later on, the fact of tragedy and what happens there. But I mean, Disneyland, anything, I mean, besides that one house we talked about in Indiana, which the movie was about, which I cannot remember the name of right now.
A house in Indiana. Oh,
yeah,
the Ammons house?
Yeah, the Ammons house, all right? So that was a relatively new house, but most of these places we talk about are old. And I don't know about you, but, I think Disney World opened in 59. Is that right? I can't remember.
I don't know. You're the history person.
I think it's 59, 58, something like that, late 50s, early 60s.
It's something like that because Disney World just celebrated their 50th anniversary, so it's got to be somewhere around.
Yeah, their 50th was the year we were there 2 years ago.
Yeah. And so, like I said, I know that it's been open a long time, and a place with that history and just the sheer amount of people. I don't know if off the top of your head what the numbers are, but there's got to be 10 to 12 million people that go through a Disney park there, the Disney parks during a year, each separate one, not
easy.
Together.
Yeah, easy.
So, I mean, just that amount of people there, that amount of energy and things like that. And one of the things you always talk about is the, oh man, I want to say resistance ghost, a resistance haunting.
Residual, man. Residual haunting.
Residual haunting. That kind of haunting there, that could just be that, seeing the person walk through the park or something like that. So I think that could be part of that there.
All right, well, let's shift gears here and go to Disney World. And since we just talked about Pirates of the Caribbean at Disneyland, let's talk about Pirates of the Caribbean at Disney World, because they've got a little ghost issue too. It's probably the most famous ghost story at Disney World. Legend goes that a young construction worker named George, he died after falling from a high spot while working on the Pirates of the Caribbean ride. Now, ever since then, cast members have kept up a strange tradition. They say good morning and good night to George over the PA system. That's kind of weird, isn't it?
Yeah.
But they say that if they don't, George apparently gets annoyed and things tend to go wrong. The ride breaks down. All sorts of other random malfunctions occur. And then phantom phone calls happen from empty control rooms, and even mysterious appearances on the ride's monitors. So it's almost like they have to acknowledge George's presence at the beginning and end of the day, because if they don't, George is going to wreak havoc. That's crazy.
Yeah. But, I mean, I think it's probably one of the things they started as a tradition. It's just been followed down. Probably, maybe not as a tradition as in, we got to do this to, I don't know the word I'm looking for, but
to appease a ghost?
To appease, there you go. Not to appease George, but maybe to honor him. And it's just something that's carried on. And now he feels as if the ghost is there, they feel as if you have to do that. So.
Well, there's more on George. Visitors often say that they feel a sudden chill in the burning city room because this is supposedly where George met his end. The favorite places that he likes to haunt is near the pirate with the pigs, under the bridge where the pirate dangles his leg, and by what they commonly now call George's door, which is next to the dog that holds the keys, which all that, if you've been on that ride, probably sounds familiar. Mm-hmm. If you're riding the Pirates ride and you feel like teasing George by saying he's not real, cast members at the park say maybe you should think twice about that, because some guests that have done this have ended up stuck on the ride thanks to an oddly timed breakdown. Now, I believe when we went on that ride, it broke down, didn't we, Gavin?
It broke down multiple times when I went one time.
So maybe somebody was teasing George and I didn't even know it at that time. There's another ghostly tale that's connected to the Pirates Caribbean ride, and it involves two women known simply as the ladies. According to the legend, they were in the front row of a boat that derailed at the bottom of the drop. And since then, they're said to still linger around that area. Some guests feel a sudden cold spot near the drop, which many believe is a sign that they're nearby. So I guess we're implying that they died.
Yeah.
Again, that sounds like crap to me. I would actually tend to believe the George thing more than that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, another haunted mansion. A couple of ghosts at the haunted mansion, Adam.
All right. So there's two there. One is the man with the cane. The haunted mansion has fair share of spooky sightings too. One of the more mysterious figures is the so-called man with the cane. Cast members working alone have seen him quietly riding the attraction late at night. He never speaks, and when approached, he simply vanishes. Some say he's the ghost of a pilot who died when his plane crashed what is now Bay Lake back in the 1940s. Another one there is a little boy, which kind of goes along with the other thing.
Yeah, what if it's the same kid?
Well, that would be funny because you dumped his ashes in California, and this ghost has gone cross country to Florida.
Well, go ahead, because they do kind of say this ghost is different from the one in Disneyland, but I just thought that was interesting.
Yeah. Another spirit said to hang around that is that of a little boy. Unlike the sad ghost rumored to die in Disneyland's version of the ride, this boy seems content. To cry in Disneyland's version of the ride. This boy seems content to silently ride in a dune buggy and peering out as the ride moves along. A few guests have even captured what they believe are photos of him.
Well, maybe that was maybe I had the picture confused. Maybe it belongs to Disney World.
And like I said, who knows, man? They've got so many haunted mansions, and people say they see stuff on them. It's hard to keep up with what you see and stuff like that, and which one it is. And
I bet that picture was for Disney World. It is hard to distinguish the two when you've got rides at both parks, but I bet it was for here is where that picture was taken.
Yeah, but out of all of them, I think the Haunted Mansion is probably the most apt to be haunted, just because of the things it's dealing with.
Just because it's a haunted thing.
The Haunted Mansion, yeah. I mean, that makes sense though, because think about the other rides that you got there. Now, I hadn't been back since the Guardians of the Galaxy was done. I don't know if you rode it when you were there, or the Tron or anything like that. Space Mountain. Lots of history there, the stories of it, the people being decapitated. I could believe somebody saying some of the stuff about it there. I would also say, Pirates of the Caribbean, the history, the length of it being there. But like new rides like, what's the thing called? The Mine Train, the Dwarf Mine Train, the Snow White Seven Dwarfs. Like those new things, I don't think you would see much haunting from there, but Pirates of the Caribbean, the Haunted Mansion, ones that were original park attractions, yeah, I could see that. If somebody told me the Tower of Terror was haunted, I could see that. I mean, it's just one of those things. I think those places that, I'm not saying it's a negative energy or anything like that, but it is putting on that stuff there. It's like this. Me and you've talked about this before. I don't believe in Ouija boards. But you put me in a house and ask me to start playing with it, I'm going to say, hell no, I ain't playing with that Ouija board. I'm not testing it. So,
no, I agree. So everybody's heard of Walt Disney. Do you know who Roy Disney is?
That was his brother, right?
That was his brother. So on Main Street, USA, there are some guests that claim to see Roy Disney himself during the Wishes fireworks show, often smiling and enjoying the moment like he's, still soaking up the magic of the park that he helped create. So I thought that was interesting.
Yeah.
Because it's not like Roy died there.
Go ahead, Gavin.
I was going to say the first time I went, I did.
You saw him.
We went to that. We went to that fireworks show, and there was a bunch of people looking around, and I looked at somebody. I was like, "What are we looking at here?" And somebody did tell me that they were looking for Roy. So I have heard this before.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's interesting.
Well, let me say this. Fireworks and the light shows and stuff at Disney are some of the coolest, most absolute, unbelievable things I've ever seen in my life. Now, I know Gavin said he went during the 50th. Did you go during the 50th, Chris?
Yeah, that's when we went.
All right. So did y'all go to Magic Kingdom and see the light show, the video show they had on the Cinderella's castle?
I believe we did,
think
didn't we? Yeah.
All right. So to me, that's the one of the only times I've been like, we have to go back. Because people that haven't been or don't know, like you buy at Disney World, you buy a pass for a specific park. You buy like you're going to Magic Kingdom one day, you're going to this one day or whatever. So the last couple of times I've gone with my in-laws and stuff, they buy one for like Magic Kingdom, Epcot, MGM Studios or whatever it's called now, Hollywood Studios, and then Animal Kingdom. And then like fifth day, they usually buy a park hopper card. I don't know if that's what y'all bought every day or what y'all had, but it allows you to go in between the different parks that day. So we would always go and be like, hey, we want to hit a couple rides here, a couple rides there. But I said, Matt, by God, we're going to last day, we're going to go back and see the whole, because we showed up late to the 50th. So we went back twice to it. And it was just one of the most absolute awesome things I've ever seen in my life. And it's a fireworks show, light show, everything. So
I guess I wasn't as impressed as you, but it is all that stuff is pretty cool and impressive. And we made sure our last night that we were there and took it all in. So Tom Sawyer's Island, for years, people exploring Tom Sawyer's Island have reported this creepy vibe going on there, especially in the caves and tunnels. They say there's shadowy figures in there and strange feelings aren't uncommon there. I don't recall doing Tom Sawyer's Island.
I've never done Tom Sawyer's Island. I did ride the paddle boat one time. The thing the paddle boat goes around, that is Tom Sawyer's Island. I have never been on Tom Sawyer's Island.
Huh. Well, if you go back, you need to go and see if you see these shadowy figures. Spaceship Earth. There's a ghost story about a young blonde girl and a boy who are sometimes seen playing outside the attraction. Others claim they've spotted the pair riding the attraction together. When I hear stuff like that, that just sounds ridiculous. But maybe it's just a brother and a sister.
Yeah.
Been seen.
Well, I think Spaceship Earth's not there anymore. I want to say that's Guardians of the Galaxy now, if I'm not mistaken. I want to say that one is. Is that right, Gavin?
I was gonna say I don't remember Spaceship Earth even being around when we went. So
it's somewhere. It's in Epcot, and I can't remember.
I haven't. That's the one I didn't go to. Was Epcot.
Okay, it's at Epcot. I'm almost 100% sure, but I can't remember what it is. I don't think it's the one that's in what they call the Epcot Center. I don't know what they call the thing. That has a specific name. Like that's the thing at Disney World. Everyone is built around a thing because I think the one at Disneyland is built around Sleeping Beauty's castle. Magic Kingdom's built around Cinderella's castle. Then you got the Tree of Life at Animal Kingdom. You got whatever that big spear is at Epcot. I want to say it's just called Epcot, but maybe I'm wrong.
Is it still there, Gavin?
Yeah. So apparently the big sphere you're talking about is called Spaceship Earth. Is apparently
the giant sphere. Okay. That's what it's called.
Okay.
So I'd never known that was what it was called. So yeah, I guess it is still around.
Okay, all right. Well, never mind then. I thought they had redone the ride to them, but anyway, so that's it there. But
there's another one about Epcot. Why don't you talk about it since you've been there? And I know Gavin's been there too. I have not.
Impressions to France. So if you go to Epcot, like the front, they've got a couple of rides. Like the coolest ride to me there is Test Track. Like you should have rode Test Track.
Test Track was fun.
It's cool. And I know they've changed it since last time I've been there. It's a General Motors ride, so they have like test cars. And I know they've changed the cars and stuff since the last time I've done it. They've changed some, but it's real cool. It takes you like through accidents and stuff like that. But anyway, so they've got a lot of rides up there in the front. And then in the back, they have like Disney Around the World or some type of talk like that. I can't remember. That's where the Elsa ride is. And there's a couple other little rides around. There in the back, but they do like parts of the world. So there's like Germany. A lot of people go to Epcot, just go around the back half and drink.
Yeah.
And
that's what I've heard.
But I know one of the things my mother-in-law, man, what she wanted, they have something called a cronut there. And it is a croissant that's been fried into a donut shape. And she wanted it so bad. And it is so good. It's so delicious. But The Impressions to France is a quiet little show in the France Pavilion at Epcot. Cast members have seen a figure lingering in the theater after hours, but when they go and investigate, the person vanishes without the trace. So I couldn't remember exactly where the France one is. I think the Germany, if there's once you get past Spaceship Earth or the big dome or whatever you call it, once you get past all that there's like a big lake in the middle of Epcot, and the thing, you go around the lake, and that's where all the parts of the world. I want to say immediately across the lake from the Spaceship Earth or the dome is Germany. I know Mexico's over to the left somewhere, and then France and them are to the right somewhere, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I think you're right.
But anyway, so obviously there. And then the last one there is at Hollywood Studios. And I think when it first opened, they called it MGM Hollywood Studios, but MGM is an Amazon property now. So I'm almost 100% sure they don't call it that anymore.
No, they don't.
So the Tower of Terror. And people, we talk about rides. There's a Tower of Terror at Disneyland as well, but it's no longer that anymore. Do you know what it is now?
I don't.
It's a Guardians of the Galaxy ride.
Really?
Yeah, so it's still the drop and everything just like that, but it's Guardians of the Galaxy based now instead of being Twilight Zone based. But the one at Disney World is still Twilight based, which is really funny. And just getting off on stuff there, right before back in the 90s, Marvel sold all their rights to Universal. So if you go to Universal, you get to ride all these cool Marvel rides, and they have all these things there. And part of the contract that Marvel gave to Universal is that, hey, as long as you have these rides, anybody west of the Mississippi can use other Marvel characters, but you're the only one east of the Mississippi that can.
That's interesting. So they look up on that.
Yeah, because they've got a Spider-Man ride there. They've got the Hulk, which is an awesome roller coaster. They got Dr. Doom's Tower Fall there, which was awesome when I done it. And they've got a couple other little things there. But Guardians of the Galaxy didn't fall into that, so they were able to use that there. But, I think Disney should be kicking themselves back, because right now they should be, and Disneyland, they've opened a Marvel's campus, Avengers campus or whatever, but they can't do that at Disney World. But anyway, so the Tower of Terror is, like I said, it's based on the Twilight Zone at Disney World, and it's still based on that today. The ride is rumored to be haunted by a former bellhop who died while working on one of the loading platforms, which is the story of the hotel, because if you go into it, you're going into a hotel. So I think maybe this is borrowing from the story a little bit.
Yeah.
He said the haunt platform D in particular, flicking lights, even freezing the ride when cast members try to do a final test run at the end of the night. I will say this. If I was to get stuck on Tower of Terror, I think that would be the thing that I would be most scared of at that park.
What, a bellhop coming?
No. Just being stuck on the Tower of Terror.
Yeah.
Like, one of my greatest fears in life. I don't know if you go to many fairs, but we've been to fairs throughout the year. And, man, we go get on these carousels. You're
talking about the Ferris wheel.
Ferris wheel. That's what I'm trying to say. Ferris wheel. And those things are held together with cotter pins. And I was like, man, I could reach over there and snatch one of the cotter pins out, and this thing would fall apart. And I hate when you get to the top and you get stuck. And that's always been one of my biggest fears. I can get to the top of one of these Ferris wheels and just get stuck up there for
We put a lot of faith in those carnies.
Yeah.
I think Adam just froze up. He did. Well, I guess since Adam's power is out, I guess we'll just keep going here, Gavin. Maybe that one of these ghosts we're talking about at Disney did something to him. He texted and said it was his power, but who knows. So that was really the last one. So Adam at least got through the last ride with us.
Yeah.
This is the point of the show where we always kind of give ratings and decide whether or not we believe this. I did forget to mention there was one other picture. I don't know if you saw it, Gavin. I think it's at Disneyland. During one of the fireworks shows, light shows, whatever, like the apparition of a person was standing that someone caught on camera. Now, maybe that's just the way the smoke was at that particular moment. But I will say it was a video, and then somebody noticed it in the video and took a screenshot of it is what it was. again, I don't know. Oh, is Adam back?
You hear
Adam,
me?
are you back? Yes, he is back. Adam has returned.
Yeah.
Just
Sorry about.
we were thinking maybe it was one of these ghosts we were talking about.
Yeah.
From
I actually said, I was like, well, that just scared the crap out of me because the lights went out, and I didn't think the rest of the lights went out because the computer was still on, but the computer's on battery. And then I was like, oh crap! And then I realized the power, all the internet and stuff had gone out. But yeah, I'm back.
well, the only other thing we were talking about, we're through all the rides now, but there was one other image in there. I don't know if you saw. We were just talking about during a fireworks light, one of those light show things you're talking about. Actually, it's a screenshot from a video, is what it is. A video was taken, and someone saw this, what they thought was some sort of apparition. That could just be the way the smoke was and the way the light was hitting at that particular moment. But
It looks like a person.
it does. But otherwise, I think we're at the point now where we're going to go ahead and rate. And I don't think we need, we always go over rating.
Yeah.
I went back and I listened to some of our earlier episodes, Adam. I don't know where along the way we decided to like explain the ratings every time, because we went for a time there where we didn't. We just we would just rate them. So I don't know why we always explain. Maybe we need to occasionally. But I think people that are listening to the show by now, they kind of know what the ratings are. If you don't, hey, all you got to do is go back and listen to the last
Go back
episode.
to one episode. Yeah, it'll be on there.
It's on there.
Yeah, just understand one's the lowest, five's the highest. So
Right.
I mean, that's this kind of point up there.
So there was a lot between two parks here, and I think what we're rating here is just not necessarily one park versus the other. Just, do we think that Disney theme parks in general, that there are paranormal presence there, either at one or both, and that's what we're rating here. Gavin, you're the guest, so we're going to ask you first. What do you rate the Disney theme park hauntings?
I rated it about a 4, to be honest with you, because
Really?
there's so much. And one thing we didn't really touch on is, especially with the Haunted Mansion ride, I actually said something to you earlier today about it. There is a ridiculous amount of people that like try to dump their loved ones' ashes on stuff like the Haunted Mansion.
Yeah, I've heard of that.
Like,
sometimes they have to shut the ride down when
so
people
like
do
a friend
that.
of mine, I was actually about to say that a friend of mine who I work with told me that one time he went and they had to shut it down and cut the lights on. He said the floor was just caked in it. Like,
Really? So you're saying
completely
because
caked in
because
stuff.
people often put out their loved ones' remains in there, that you think that plays into?
Absolutely, and it's not just the Haunted Mansion ride either. I mean, people do this on Tower of Terror. I mean, like I think you mentioned earlier, somebody's done it on People Mover. Like people do this all the time.
That's actually a good point. But Disney's one of those places where, like you said earlier, Adam, those adult Disney people, and there's probably more people than you think that say, "Hey, my wishes are for my ashes to be spread out at Disney." That's not that unbelievable. So I see your point, but a 4. So Gavin definitely leans toward this being real. What about you, Adam?
I agree with Gavin. I do believe that there is a high probability chance that this place is haunted. Like I said, I just, being it's Disney, you also have to play into the point of, is it people seeing stuff they want to see? And I think sometimes if we got Disney adults out there, I apologize for this. I think these people who are more willing to what did Fox Mulder always say? I want to believe.
I want to believe.
Yeah, I want to believe. So I think this is what that kind of stuff is there. People want to listen. So I'm going to rate this 4 as well. Just the sheer amount of people that go through there, the things that happen, I just think that it could be haunted. So I would say, yeah, I do believe it's haunted. So I'd give it a 4, but I would hold off putting it off on a 5, just from the standpoint of, man, I just couldn't tell you. I couldn't tell you if it is or not in terms of the standpoint of things, but the chances are, like I said, haunted mansion, Tower of Terror. I just could believe those places are haunted just in and out of themselves, just due to the nature of it. Because I think sometimes when you ask for things to be haunted, they get to be haunted.
Yeah, I agree with that.
All right. Well, I'm not going to give the same rating as y'all. I lean a little more toward unsure. I'm going to go right down the middle, 3. I need more. When I say I need more, that's crazy, because we've got video evidence, we've got pictures, we've got tons of eyewitness accounts. Why would what more could I possibly need? I guess this is one of those where I don't know.
It's supposed to be the happiest place on earth,
Yeah,
CG.
and
I mean,
and I may just need to see it for myself. This one, I don't know. I just struggle with this one. Back to a point you made earlier about how they handle death and things at Disney. You know, the rumor is the big internet rumor is no one dies at Disney, right?
right.
But they say it's most people think it's not that people don't die at Disney. It's just
They
that
take them off. They
they've
take them
never
off
been
campus before they declare them dead.
correct.
Yeah.
They're never actually declared dead until they're taken off of the site.
Yeah.
Again, that doesn't mean that they didn't die there just because you declare them dead away from the site. I have no doubt in my mind that people have died at Disney in accidents. Probably more people working there have died in accidents than actual people that were, guests there. But I believe that's probably happened too. We mentioned some of them. But again, between the pictures, video, eyewitness accounts that we've read about, I know it's a lot, but I'm still a 3, I think is where I'm going to go. So Gavin gave it a 4. Adam gave it a 4. I'm giving it a 3. That's like a 3.66 or something.
Yeah.
So it does.
666 repeating. I think that gives you.
I was going to say maybe that's not the greatest number for us to land
Well,
on.
that's Madame Leota again, influencing the show. So ultimately, we're saying that we do think that there is some paranormal stuff going on at Disney. Collectively, that's what we believe. So I wouldn't pay all that money just to go try to see a ghost. I would pay it to go have a good time at Disney. But, while you're there, if you go there this summer or plan to in the future and this is your thing, be on the lookout for ghosts at both Disneyland and Disney World, I guess. Any final thoughts about Disney, Adam?
No, like I said, I enjoy Disney. I enjoy going. It's fun for me. I enjoy going there. Now, like I said, you're in a little different situation than I am because my kids are a little older now. I don't know if they would quite enjoy it. My son would. My son, when he graduated high school, that's where he said he wanted to go is Disneyland or Disney World, excuse me. And so I know he'd like to go. My wife, as you mentioned, is a huge Disney fan. I'm kind of in trouble because you know what I haven't done this weekend so far?
What you haven't done?
Yeah, I hadn't taken her to go see Lilo and Stitch, which is like one of her favorite Disney movies, and I'm like, it's like one of the stupidest Disney movies to me. So, but anyway, she loves it, and it actually came out after like me and her started dating. So
it's hard to believe.
And they're already making live action adaptations of it. But anyway, there's lots of different things at Disney World that I enjoy, but I don't think I'm going there for the ghost. But no. I can believe it's definitely haunted.
I can tell you, ghosts are the furthest thing from my mind when I'm there, except maybe when I'm at the Haunted Mansion because it's part of the ride.
Well, let me say this for people out there that Disney is such a popular place. I think a lot of people have been there. If you've been there and you've experienced some of this, if you've experienced hauntings at Disneyland or Disney World, and you want to reach out and you want to share this, you want to say, CG, Adam, Gavin, y'all are idiots. I'm telling you, this place is haunted. There's lots of different ways that you can reach out and let us know. The first thing you can do is you can reach out to us at theghostcasters@gmail.com. Reach out to us there. You can drop us a line. Send us information. You got story ideas. Maybe you have a picture at one of the haunted mansions with a young child that you think's an apparition. Send that on to us so we can just add it to the things that we have there. Also, we have an Instagram account. It is the Ghostcasters. We go through, we post stuff about things we're talking about, things that have happened. You can go through and put it on there so you can follow along with us there. You can direct messages, same thing as the email account, but you can let us there. Also, go through on your podcast purveyor, whoever it is you're listening to this on. If you're listening to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, whatever other podcast purveyor we're on out there, go in there, give us a rating. Those things help us grow the podcast. We know we've been out for the last couple of weeks, but we're going to try to get back in some type of semi-regular ground. The summer's always going to be hard. I don't know if you got plans for the 4th of July. I know I'm going to be out. This is Memorial Day weekend now, but I know next weekend I'm going to be out of town calling baseball. So I know there's lots of things going on like that. But, if you've got stuff that, if you want to listen, follow along, drop us a rating review, it'd be a big help to us.
Well, I'm glad you said all that, so I didn't have to. Any final thoughts from you, Gavin?
No, just kind of echo what Adam said. I also enjoy Disney, but it's a lot. It's a lot for a lot of people. The joke's been with me and my girlfriend that whenever we do get married, that our honeymoon's just going to be at Disney because we both enjoy it so much. But, I definitely think something's
expensive honeymoon, buddy.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I guess we'll leave it here. So thanks everybody for tuning in, and we'll see you next time for an all new episode of Ghostcasters.